What is going on, everybody? Welcome everybody into the Hump Day Hotline on the Buffalo Rumblings vidcast network, presented by Picasso's Pizza. Treat yourself to the most flavorful pizza on game day. Picasso's, we are Buffalo Pizza, shipping local and nationwide. Order online at picassospizza.net. My name is Joe Miller. I'm the co-host of this.
Hump Day!
You were late on that one.
I did it on purpose. I'll let you get through the read first.
Hump Day. I know you did. It is Hump Day. Hump Day Hotline. And my name is Joe Miller. You can find me on Twitter at Joe Miller Wired. And that is my lovely co-host sitting next to me. That is Jay Spence the King. Jay Spence, say hi to the people.
What is going on, Bills Mafia, and whoever else is in here? I feel like we may have some Baltimore lurkers.
It's definitely possible. It was funny how much the Finns. It reminded me last week to include my post-game show of 2020 Finns fans. Does that make sense? Like 2020 Finn fans were everywhere. They were all over all the shows we were doing and everything else. Then 2021, they kind of vanished, but they were back. They were back in force this past week.
You're right. You're right about that. It was annoying. It was very annoying.
Yes, but it's good to have everybody. Welcome again into the Hump Day Hotline. Do us a favor and hump that like, as we like to say here on Wednesday evenings. Welcome to everybody who's downloading this in podcast form. I get comments all the time from people that listen to have never joined us live, you and me. Listen in podcast form, and like they're like, yeah, you and Spence together, like my favorite show. Like that's my favorite show that I listen to. And I'm like, really? That's awesome. Thank you. Which is really super, super sweet. So but yeah, welcome to everybody in the chat. And I'm noodling around with technology stuff over here, so I'm a little distracted. I apologize, but
what are you breaking? You're always breaking something.
I'm always breaking something, but yeah, I'm still not happy. But so let's talk. You came in and you said that you were fighting in the timeline. So
not me.
That's fine. Well, okay, but there's people. No. So I'm not gonna. I don't want to necessarily talk about that. Wow, holy cow! I don't want like I had a whole bunch of comments that just came.
Yeah,
in.
like
you see
40
15
of them at one time. Yeah,
bang! All the comments. Like, okay. But aside from that, how are you doing after that? We'll call it a defeat. It's hard to. It's. We'll call it a defeat. How are you feeling? How are you coping, if you will?
I'm over it. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I was over it the day of.
Nice.
You know, it was one of those things, and I don't know. And this is the part that gets weird for me. I don't know if it's the fact that we've been doing podcasts now. Like, I don't. First of all, let me put this disclaimer out there. I do not think I'm media. I do not think I'm like a big deal in any sense of the word. But what I will say is, like, doing this, you kind of watch the game differently because you have to prepare for the show that we do.
Yes.
So you quickly learn to like take the emotion out of it and then just start to look at, like, okay, logically, what happened? Like, what? So, like, after the game, you know, the first thing. So first, I was sitting behind the team bench, so I was there. The heat was on me. You might not be able to tell now because I don't have a picture up next to me, but I'm like 2 shades darker. You know what I mean? I'm already dark. It's not a good thing. So it's like, it was literally, man, like, it wasn't enough water. I must have went and grabbed water 3 or 4 times. It just wasn't enough water to make you comfortable.
Wow.
There was like, we had little handheld fans, and it just wasn't, like, it didn't feel cool. So like, and that was us sitting or standing there. Like, that wasn't us running 15 miles an hour trying to tackle guys. It wasn't us. Right. Like, none of that. So the first thing is, like, no, I'm not using it as an excuse that the weather was hot, or I'm not. It's home field advantage, or it is what it is. It's what happens. But logically, you're fooling yourself if you looked at that game and you thought that the Miami Dolphins were better than the Buffalo Bills. Like they outscored, they completely outperformed them in every aspect except for the fact that we lost by 2 points. And that was, I mean, I blame that on the turnover. You know, we set them up to where they were like, what, 20 yards or 10 yards from the end zone. They scored. But other than that, man, we completely dominated that game, even with the injuries, even with Stephon Diggs saying I had full body cramps. I've never heard of full body cramps.
Yeah, hard pass on that. It actually, I would love to get, before I kind of give my just thoughts on the game, I would love to hear from you just the atmosphere. I've been to a game in that stadium before, but I'd love to hear just what you felt the Bills look like. What did you notice on the sideline as far as from the players themselves? Just that whole concept of being gassed or being full body cramped. Just what was your take on the whole thing?
From the very first drive, I mean, the very first, it started with Spencer Brown. You could see him on the field. Literally, he was just like, he's bending over. He was just gassed. The sideline after every snap, not play. Like, I mean, like not every drive, after every snap, you're seeing other players. Stephon Diggs, I feel like Stephon Diggs is one of the most in shape. Not that there aren't guys in shape on our team, but I feel like his motor, the way we see him play and perform, I feel like he's one of the most in shape guys on our team. It was literally every other play that he made a play, he was on the sideline. Like he was calling to come out. Like, you know, it was an exhausting game to watch for them.
Yeah.
Even Josh Allen, like we know him to be like this guy that just gives everything that he has. Dude, I don't know if y'all could see it on like the TV, but like there you could literally like see through their pants. Like they had on the white pants. You could see them, like, you know, like that's how much they were sweating. I don't know if some of it was like they were pouring bottles of water on them to try to keep cool. I know that everybody talked about how many IVs they had. It was really, again, I'm not using this as an excuse. The Buffalo Bills aren't using it as an excuse. So I'm not either. It was a hard thing. It was a hard thing to deal with. Just sitting there was hard.
Yeah, what's interesting to me is just the difference in the temps, because pregame they showed 89. We heard that it feels like was 98 and on the field, and then like midgame they said the field like feels like was like 110 or 120. But it's not even that. You live in Arizona, it's the humidity, and I lived in Florida for a long time, and you obviously now really notice the difference being in Arizona there. And Josh made the comment, you know, in his post-game presser, there was times when they felt like they couldn't breathe. They couldn't, and And I remember like going out and playing tackle football, you know, after church on Sundays with the guys, you know, in high school, and just how hot it was in the summertime. It was rather incredible, and stifling is the word that I would use. It was, what was striking to me, and clearly the amount of time that they played was grossly different, you know, by a half, or by double, I should say. You know, Josh Allen is in his post-game press conference, and like he's soaked through his undershirt and red-faced and hair soaking wet and whatever. And then Tua gets up there for his post-game press conference, and he looks like he hasn't even played a game yet. He's just like dry, not sweating, not flush, nothing. Just kind of like, matter of fact, hey, this is what happened, and this is how the game went. How did the Bills look? Because to me, and I've talked about it on a couple different shows, there were times, especially in the second half, the Zach Moss run was the perfect example, where the Bills would snap the ball and the two lines they wouldn't even collide. They would just be like,
oh yeah, like
and that Zach Moss run, like literally, I said this to Jerry Ostrowski on Monday night because Fina couldn't be with us. Zach Moss grabs the ball and he takes off because he hadn't been playing, so and it was almost like the defense was like, oh, there he goes. They just watched him run by.
I think that would be a good description of that play. But I tell you what, like the line, both sides. So I know Bills fans are upset about it, and obviously the Dolphins were in the shade for a good part of most of the game. But I'll tell you what, those guys weren't getting any other than like going to sit in the shade on their side. On the field, they still had to play, and I'm gonna just tell you, they were going through it too. It just, they had a little bit more of a break. It was tough for both sides. So that Zach Moss run it wasn't exact like that. It was perfect the way you described it.
Yeah, literally being in the shade in Florida doesn't help.
No,
and being from Buffalo, we all know this because we get mostly non-humid summer days, and like it's so hot in the sun, and you go into the shade under a tree, and it's like, oh, it's super cool now. Versus,
and that's what I was trying to explain. Like it's like so everybody's yelling about, well, they're in the shade and it's unfair. And it's like, no, I mean, I get it. They have some shade, so there's a little relief there. Like, And if you look at the temperature on the field, I did see something where it was like maybe like a 10-degree difference on the sidelines.
Yeah.
Okay, but when you're playing in that game, I'm just telling
you're innocent.
And you said something earlier. I don't think it was entirely accurate. On the way to the game, the car said like 109 on the way,
really?
105 on the way to the game.
I was going by what they said on the broadcast. That's all.
Yeah, no, like being there because we were shocked. It was like, holy smoke, like it's really this hot. Like so all week I was trying to figure out how to dress, and I'm like, should I wear shorts? Should I wear? The temperature wasn't supposed to be in the hundreds. Let me just say it like that.
Right.
And there was a good chance of rain. It did not happen, man. It was horrible. It was horrible. That
makes a big difference. So it was clear, the scrolling line was, did we beat ourselves? Was it the heat? Was Miami better? At the end of the day, Jerry Ostrowski called it being bonked. So apparently that's a sports term that they use when they hit the wall. And they just effectively ran out of gas. I mean, you can't look at that game and look at those numbers and not realize that the Bills beat themselves. The one that I've talked about is, the shanked field goal by Tyler Bass, which could have won the game, but there were 2 other field goal opportunities that they missed as well. I mean, they had ample opportunities to put a bow on that one, and it just didn't work. I think we all, no, I'm going to say we all, meanwhile, people, like you said, are fighting on Twitter. I feel like the majority of us that are sane, not even trying to be objective, realize that like the Bills are the better football team. And as much as they lost this game, the season's not over. Right.
Oh, yeah. No, I mean, I'm looking forward to Sunday. You know what I mean? Like, and I know we're not there yet, so we got stuff to talk about first. But I mean, no, I'm looking for, and you know what? Miami fans, enjoy this. Like, you're 3-0, you're ahead of the division right now. You're at the top. Okay, enjoy this, because I tell you what, the Bills aren't going away. Like, this game was one of those games where it's like, I look at this a lot like the Patriots game last year. I love Dan, man. But it reminds me of the Patriots game in a sense where, look, the weather was a factor, and it turned into something that went against the Buffalo Bills' strength.
Right.
The Buffalo Bills were more athletic, were better than everybody. So what happens is when Stephon Diggs can't run and get those 10 to 11 receptions that we're used to seeing him get, it's going to hinder our offense. That's just what it is. Gabriel Davis doesn't normally drop touchdown passes like that in the end zone. That just doesn't happen.
Josh Allen doesn't skip passes to Isaiah McKenzie in the end zone either.
He doesn't throw them in the dirt like Tua or Cam Newton. That's not what Josh Allen does. So I'm sorry. Shout out to Cam. I love you, Cam. I was joking, man. Love you, dude.
Cam might be going back to New England.
I would absolutely. I have 2 jerseys. I
wore one. I'm well aware.
I would love if Cam went back to New England. That would be a welcome sight for me, and I think a lot of Bills fans. But whatever. But just saying, it was one of those games, though, really, man, where it was just like the Buffalo Bills as we know it, they just couldn't operate that way. Yeah. And I get that, there's a portion of Bills Mafia that's like, super disappointed that we lost this game. Listen, that's why there's 17 weeks.
That's right.
That's why we didn't predict undefeated. Did you?
I did not predict undefeated, but I was the voice saying that they could very well go undefeated this year. There's not a game on that schedule that's unwinnable, right?
Jumped the gun there.
Especially since the Ram game was the only game I was worried about was the Rams game. Like the world champions at home, first week of the season, you don't know what you're going to get. New offensive coordinator. That to me had the most negative potential, and obviously we saw what they did. So 2 questions before we bury this. Their game plan questions. Was it blocked? I thought he shanked it totally.
I couldn't tell. I was going to rewatch it before this, and then the way my day went,
and then totally like it traveled and like a golf shot, and then sliced. Anyway. But sorry for those listening in podcast form. Somebody posted that it was possibly blocked, and I'm not sure that it was. It could have been. Anyway,
before because the field goal. Before we move on, I will say I am very happy that the Buffalo Bills are the team now that we're aggressive because we know we have that type of offense. We got Josh and Diggs and Gabriel Davis and McKenzie. Can we kick a damn field goal when it's 4th and 4 or 4th and 3 in the red zone? Like, I understand that we want a touchdown every single time, but you do understand that we gave up 2 field goals. Like, we didn't. Like, I sometimes I think this is where I get upset about the game because we left so many points on the field. Like, so even the pick 6, we could be mad about Matt dropping that pick 6. We could be mad about, like, there's several things we can be mad about. But guess what? There were 2 that's 6 points that we left on the field that it just okay. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
So
That's where I get mad.
To your point, Bill's first possession. These are my notes from Sunday's show. This is me charting the game, right? So first possession for the Bills, big catch by Stephon Diggs to open up 28 yards, a pass to Devin Singletary, a run for loss to Devin Singletary, a pass to Reggie Gilliam, the big pass. Then they threw another one to him. So this is literally what I've got in my notes: pass to Stephon Diggs for no gain plus a penalty, ball at the 5, first down, first and goal from the 5. Run to Devin Singletary to the 2, and then it ends up being fourth down, and the Bills are going for it. In my notes, I have, this is insane. Why in the hell are they going for it on 4th and 2? But sure enough, they throw a touchdown pass to Devin Singletary, and then you're like, oh, I guess I'm either not a believer or I should believe more. Anyway, so your point is well taken as far as that goes.
I'm not saying every time. I think it's situational. I think it's situational.
It segues into what I want to ask you. Okay, so it segues into what I want to ask you: 2 game plan questions. One for the offense, one for the defense. I'll start with the offense. No, correction, I'm going to start with the defense because I got more questions about the defense one than nobody asked me anything about the offense one. It's Wednesday. I'm in the shower. I'm thinking about the game, right? I'm doing shows and I'm just kind of building theories. Defensively, do you feel or do you believe that the lack of pressure, the lack of rush on Tua was game plan oriented to basically help that defensive backfield? So basically to kind of keep everything in front of them, right? Instead of like putting the defensive backfield in a situation where they're blitzing and the ball's coming out differently or coming out hot or they're going to hot reads. Do you feel that the lack of, because Von Miller was wildly invisible in this game. They had the one blitz. Who had the blitz? Was it Tremaine Edmonds and had the sack? Rousseau had the blitz. What's that?
Bodies.
That's your body.
Bodies all day. Bodies.
So, he was completely untouched on that sack.
Bodies.
So first question is, do you think it was game plan, the lack of pressure? It was more of we're just going to keep everybody in front of us. We're not going to pressure them. We're almost going to kind of work them into their own mistakes. They didn't make any, but they didn't really gain a ton of yards either. Game plan, or did the offensive line of the Miami Dolphins really stifle what the Bills were trying to do?
Honestly, I don't want to oversimplify this. I think they were exhausted by the heat.
It's possible.
I just, honest to God, I think that was it, because in the first quarter, in the first drive and a half, couple drives, you saw the Tremaine sack. You saw them trying to apply pressure. Yeah. I just don't think they had it in them, man. Like I'm honest to God, Joe, like every play, there was at least 2 players coming off the field on defense and offense.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Asking to be sub. So honestly, man, I would love to say that. I would love to say that it was a scheme and it just didn't work out, and it was like I want to blame it on Leslie Frazier or Sean McDermott. Yeah. But this is one of those games where I'm not. No, I'm saying me. I didn't say you were.
Yeah, you were. Not blame.
No. I'm saying that though.
212 what I'm saying is yards on offense. It worked.
Well, but we lost the game. So
we gave up touchdowns. They broke. They bent. And then they broke.
So it didn't work. So what I'm saying is, like,
it's 1 field goal, we win that football game versus having 3 touchdowns. So it was Jerry Ostrowski said it as well. If you don't want to put your defensive backfield on an island, especially 2 rookies and 2 backups, don't rush the quarterback aggressively. Like, just keep him where he's at and keep an eye on him and make sure that you're kind of containing him and taking care of him. Second question, game plan related, and we've already spent more time on this game, but that's fine than we wanted to. And this is something that nobody's talking about. And it worked as well, in my opinion, other than the fact that the defense broke. Do you think that the reason that Josh Allen was not darting balls in the intermediate and long range areas, the passes that we normally see Josh live on, 13 yards, 16, 18, 20 yards, Chuck, and you were there, so you got a better view than what we got, because Josh Allen was very much taking what the defense gave him, taking what like just extending drives, 20 play drives, being on the field forever. Do you feel, and this is where I'm at now, that was part of the game plan, the old Dick Duran mode of keeping the ball out of Tua, and that not Tua's hands necessarily, but Waddle and Hill's hands? Mm-hmm. Like, let's not make this, because I said I expected this game to be 51-48. I didn't know who was going to win, but I thought for sure it was 51-48, and I bet it that way. In a lot of categories. Do you feel that maybe the Bills were trying to extend those drives and take 40 minutes of possession to keep that offense off the field?
I mean, in one way, yes. In another way, no. I don't think I don't think that the Bills give them as much credit as you did. Like, I don't think they expected a shootout.
Possible.
You know, I think they respect Waddle. Obviously, they respect Hill, but I don't see them looking at the Miami Dolphins like, yeah, they can put up 50 against it. They really believe in their defense, even without having Jordan Poyer and Micah Hyde back there this past weekend.
Right.
They were very confident in Johnson. They were very confident in Ham. Like
EJ Manuel.
Very, very confident. So I just don't think that they were looking at it like, yo, they're gonna put up 40 on us.
Yeah. Obviously the one big play, the big crucial throw that Tua made, he froze Damar Hamlin because Hill was running right at him. So he just kept his eyes on him for that split second, and which was more than enough to open that lane in the cover 2 in the shell. But I'm just curious. Those are just post.
You know what? Thoughts. I had people yelling at me about that play because I blamed that one on coaching. I did. The 3rd and 22, or what was it? 3rd and 20, whatever it was. 3rd and 22. Yep. Okay, so that play, I did blame it on coaching because regardless of how you want to put it, you don't get beat over the top on the 3rd and 22.
You don't.
Like, you just don't do it. I don't care if you got Randy Moss and Megatron on the same team. You don't get beat on 3rd and 22. You just don't do it. So, you know, whatever play was called and however they tried to scheme it to where the guy who was it, DeMar? I don't know who it was that got beat. I have to go back and watch it. But
so it was Jaquan Johnson. So the got beat. Waddle was released to Jaquan Johnson, which is what's supposed to happen. And then Damar Hamlin was on the other side, and he was holding Hill because Hill was running right at his face, which was and he was peeking, right? So he's peeking at Tua, and then it was just enough to keep him wide enough. It was a well executed play, perfectly thrown football.
But you give up that 15-yard play and you hope you're fast enough this year to catch them before they hit the first down marker. No, but I mean, that's, you have to, when you're playing against a Tyreek Hill, like it's really, that's what it comes down to. It's like you hold them before the first down marker, and you hope now that we've added enough speed in our secondary to stop them from getting to the first down marker.
That's exactly
right. You don't get beat with a 40-yard bomb by a guy that can't throw it 40 yards. Like, what the heck is happening here?
Right.
So to me, that was the one play that I really said, no, I can't put this on exhaustion. I can't put this on heat. That's a bad coaching job. So that's the only one where I was that critical of anybody on the day.
Fair. So let's switch gears. The Buffalo Bills have officially signed Xavier Rhodes, former defensive back drafted by the Vikings, played his last 2 seasons with the Colts, was injured a little bit last year. I looked around the web today to find out why he was not on the team. One of his last tweets during preseason was, who's got 2 or 7 available, so he could basically join a team. So I don't necessarily know what was going there. He was not on my radar. Joe Hayden was on my radar. A couple other guys. Surprised I am that the Bills made a move and actually went and got somebody. I guess excitingly surprised about who it was, learning that I believe he was drafted by Frazier, right? So like Frazier has some similarities or familiarities with him. He's a zone defender, which is what the Bills like to run quite a bit. So he seems like a perfect fit. While I'm pulling up the injury report, do you want to just talk about that real quick as far as just thoughts on that signing?
Well, I think so I don't know how much people know about him. He obviously most recently he was in Indianapolis, so he's not the guy that we saw when he was drafted by the Vikings.
Right.
But the thing is, he's a scheme fit. He's somebody who has good skills, and Leslie Frazier, we've seen him put guys in the right position to be successful. So in reality, this is probably the best case situation.
To include the guy that came in for injured Christian Benford. I mean, you got a guy that was called up from the practice squad that most of us didn't even realize that Benford was out of the game.
and then you look at the final stats, and we give up 200 whatever yards, and like we really stopped our offense from looking dynamic. So I think when you bring in a guy like listen, he's not let me, because I don't want to make it seem like Xavier, he's not one of those guys that's going to come in and automatically become an all-pro player. So I want to set expectations. He's not that guy.
Right.
But what he's going to do is he's going to give you Levi Wallace level of play. I think he's going to
give you better than that. I think
I think his floor, to me, is that's where I'm going with. I think his floor, Levi, if he gives us a floor of Levi Wallace, can you be mad at that? We had the number 1 defense last year with him.
I don't have enough experience. I don't have enough information, knowledge to know what the defense was that Matt Eberflus ran in Indianapolis to know if he succeeded or didn't succeed. I know that he was phenomenal in Minnesota. And players don't hit the wall that fast. They don't hit the wall in year 7, right, or 8, and then all of a sudden turn into trash. There's a reason, scheme fit, whatever it is, coaching, what they're asking of the corner or the player. Clearly, injuries are a big part of it. Who knows why the Colts moved on from him? If somebody knows in the comment section, that'd be great. I couldn't find it today. I'm excited about this signing, though. Like, to me, especially with Dane practicing. And, oh, by the way, I don't know if you watched the interviews. Vaughn said Dane's going to be ready this week. Came out.
I didn't hear Von say that. I would love that. Everything that I've heard is like the week following. But if he's ready this week, too.
That's what I've been hearing too.
Everything I've heard is the week following. But if he's ready this week, fine. What I think this means when Trey comes back, I think we're going to be able to see what we do on our defensive line. We're going to be able to see it with our secondary.
Yeah.
I think we're going to be able to have, Elam and Benford when Benford's hand is right. We're going to be able to rotate these guys so they're fresh. So that way, when it won't be a situation where it's a 13 seconds and somebody can run back. I think that's the Buffalo Bills are trying to build the team that way all around to have depth and to be able to rotate guys to keep them fresh. So I think this signing is something that we should have done in the offseason. If not him, obviously there were other cornerbacks that we talked about that could have been there. But I think this is something that should have happened. So I'm very happy that they did it. I'm happy that they did it so quickly. I hate that it took some injuries for it to happen, but I'm happy that they did it so quickly.
Well, with Trey coming back, and that's the crux of the question. So when Trey comes back at week 8, week 10, whatever it's going to be, you assume that Ka'ir Elam is settled in. Benford's healthy again. So one of those two guys, and Ka'ir Elam played well. But both of them played well this past weekend. But you expect one of them to have solidified that CB2 spot. I don't know which one. I'm not going to guess. Let him keep fighting it out. Right? I know Christian Benford's injured, but let him keep fighting it out. Trey comes back. Trey is Trey. As far as when he's coming back, I thought.
No. Well, go ahead. I'm looking up something about Elam, man.
Yeah, I thought it was 3 weeks on Benford. Here's the question: with Micah Hyde being out, does Xavier Rhodes move into that Micah Hyde role? Is the question. At 6'1", 210 pounds, he's not small.
And you know what? And that's how a lot of cornerbacks extend their careers as well. And not that he's old by any means yet, but it's like he can extend his career a few more years.
Is he 32? Yeah.
So, but as far as Ka'ir Elam, I wanted to say something because you brought him up and talked about how well he played. Through 3 weeks of play, 66 coverage snaps, 50 yards allowed. 66 coverage snaps, 50 yards allowed. So what Sean McDermott and Leslie Frazier has done, they've drafted another guy who's legitimately a very good cornerback. Now, they haven't put him in a position to really have to shut down the number one guy. So I hear what I'm saying. When you get Trey back and you got Ka'ir Elam and he fully develops into who he is, and then we have Dane Jackson under contract for some more years who's played above his draft position. And then you have Benford playing above his draft position. We have a solid secondary that, it might be the last time we see Micah Hyde and Jordan Poyer together, but guess what? They'll be able to figure out a way to make that thing work back there. And I'm excited about just the way Brandon Beane continues to show us his mastery at building a roster. It's incredible to watch when you go through a guy that's been here that put us in cap hell and, was signing guys that shouldn't have been signed, like has-beens to $80 billion contracts. Like, to have Brandon Beane here is just amazing, man. This is awesome.
Our guy Daryl Fletcher says, for a guy who isn't used to playing zone, I can only assume he's talking about Xavier Rhodes, and Xavier Rhodes is a zone corner. So the things that I think
he's talking about Ka'ir Elam, like the stats I just read off.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, that's fine. I was gonna say, because from things that I've read, he struggled a little bit in Indianapolis due to the fact that they were having him play a little more man stuff. He is a zone guy, but yep, there it is. So thank you, Daryl, for clearing that up. Yeah, he said no Elam. Interestingly enough, you've got Benford coming back, you've got Elam, you've got Trey coming back, Dane coming back. You now have Xavier Rhodes on the roster. Somebody in the comment section said that Benford goes to safety. I don't know if that's true or not. But how long is Trey signed for? Is it 3 more years, 4 more years? I
believe 3.
There's no way that both of those guys stay on the roster. If they're going to be corners with Taron Johnson, Ka'ir's not going anywhere. Does Benford become a guy they potentially move off this roster?
No, honestly, I think with the injury to Micah, unless there's somebody that they're really, they're high on and they want to look for as a free agent next year, or somebody they want to draft, I think it makes sense. He has experience at that role. Let's develop our guys, and because it doesn't have to be an expensive thing. If you have the guys with the ability and you can extend your window, we just paid Josh a lot of money, and that's about to kick in. It's about to kick in. So when that does, you're looking for different ways. Now, we didn't extend Jordan Poyer. I've been saying all year, pay my guy, extend my guy. We didn't do it yet. Micah, he's on injured reserve. Hopefully, everybody's praying that he comes back. But with the type of injury, you just never know. So I'm hoping. If we can do this with young guys who can play that role and play it exceptionally well, hey, let's figure that out so that way we can keep this window going. We need this window open.
And Daryl Fletcher says you can never have enough good corners. I agree. I just don't know how you keep guys on the bench. This is a great segue. Heather Town asks, how long is Phillips out? So he did not participate today, and Sean McDermott said in his presser that he's week to week. I think he said we're not going to see him this week at all, but that he's week to week. The question is, and I'm not a defensive lineman. I don't think you played defensive line. How much does a hamstring injury affect a defensive lineman? I mean, clearly there's burst there. There is a measure of speed for at least 10 yards. I don't know, but I know that his hamstring injury did not look great, right? Can we just say that? It looked bad. But as we're talking about and kind of segueing into the injury report, it's not as bad as it's been. And I saw on Twitter, they might be in the comment section. Somebody on Twitter was like, I've never been so excited to see limited for so many players because it could have been so much worse. The only two real big surprises, Ryan Bates, concussion protocol, right? Did not participate. Christian Benford, we knew, broken hand, did not participate. Gabriel Davis was limited. We saw him actually catch some passes. He still looked a little gimpy to me, but I think obviously he played Sunday. I can't imagine him not playing this Sunday. The surprise was Deion Dawkins, and with an illness, which was a non-COVID related illness. So he's sick. You got to think that he's going to play Sunday. Dane Jackson was limited. That's exciting. Von Miller said he's going to be back this week. Coach did not obviously confirm that. Dawson Knox limited. Jake Kumaro, we saw the ankle injury, did not participate. Cam Lewis was limited. I didn't realize he got injured either. Von Miller, veteran rest day. Mitch Morse, you got to think Mitch is going to be back this week, which is huge for that offense. I put on Twitter, old enough to remember when certain content creators wanted Mitch Morse cut. I don't know if you remember that or not, but I think I think you and I were the ones who were like, you don't cut that guy. That dude's good. With Justin Murray, Ed Oliver looked explosive and great today. I got to think he comes back this week. Phillips did not participate. Jordan Poyer was limited. I don't know if you've got any information on that. I would expect him to be back this week as well. It felt to me like, and I'm going to remove this graphic, Saffold did not participate, veteran rest day. It felt to me like some of these guys were held out because we could. There was an expectation of, it's week 3. Jordan doesn't necessarily have to play. Mitch doesn't have to play. We're not playing. It's like if it was the playoffs, I feel like Mitch would have played. I feel like Jordan would have played. Do you feel that, or am I?
Can I pause for 1 second?
Yeah.
I am not paying homage to Kingpin. He's paying homage to me. Y'all gonna stop stealing my stuff, bro.
It's true.
Y'all gonna stop stealing my stuff, and y'all gonna stop coming in his comments trying to be disrespectful about it. Listen. Y'all gonna stop. You can edit this out if you want, Joe, or you can keep it so they can listen to it in podcast form.
The truth.
I'm tired of this, man. What is happening? Y'all taking credit and giving credit for my stuff.
Yeah.
Let's be real here. I'm sorry.
It was last. I'm sorry. It was last year, early in the season, when Spence was talking about Tremaine Edmonds catching bodies.
They stealing designs, hoodie designs. They stealing sayings. Come on, man. Y'all got it. Buffalo Fanatics got to stop, bro.
Yeah.
Y'all got to stop.
Yeah. So, well, it's not, that he is not from Fanatics, I don't think.
No, but he's stop.
Yeah, we much respect and mad love for all content creators for the Buffalo Bills, but that's one of those
Joe
things.
got much love and respect. I'm tired of it, man. I pay too much respect and love for everybody to be doing this crap. So I'm tired of it.
It's true. So anyways, what was I saying?
I don't know. I'm tired of it.
I felt like, let's get back on point. I felt like that if this was the playoffs, that Poyer would have played, that Mitch would have played. Where are you at on that? Do you thoughts?
I feel like Mitch and Jordan would have played if it was the playoffs, or if it was a game that made us get to the playoffs.
Right. Yeah.
But no, I think it's I think at this point I agree with you. The team is like, look, we know we're good. We know that these guys know what they're doing. We know what it is. They're gonna get in here, so we don't have to. I'm sorry. Don't forget. I love you, Chris Jenke. I'm sorry, bro, and I'm sorry, Joe. Like, because this is our show and this is Buffalo Rumblings. I don't mean to be, but it's one of those things where it's getting out of hand, and it's like, and they've done it to other writers. They did it to Marcel one year, like Marcel from ESPN. You steal a whole damn article, and then you want to argue with him on Twitter.
I'm just waiting for somebody to steal something of mine. I got good stuff too, but nobody steals anything of mine.
Wildest dreams land. But no, and I'm sorry again. I apologize to SB Nation and Buffalo Rumblings if this is out of pocket. But it's like I work hard, man, and I come up with these creative things that catch on, and it's a reason why I'm passionate about it.
Yeah,
and for people to just take stuff that don't belong to them, take ideas, and come on, man, y'all got to stop. Be men about it. Stop.
Yeah, anyways, moving on. So yeah, I would agree with you that I feel like both those guys probably would have played. I mean, Mitch Morse, to me, the Titans game, coming out injured with the elbow and going back in and playing. Now, I know the next day, late onset muscle soreness and all that kind of crap, it could have felt different this week than it felt even during the game. But I got to think that Mitch Morse would have played, and that would have been you're down to Greg Mance in the third and fourth quarter of that football game. Like it just wasn't necessarily a great scenario, a great situation. But kind of piggybacking off of that, this was a topic that you wanted to talk about. The Bills' offensive line was expected to be, a strength on this football team with the additions of Roger Saffold primarily, and obviously, David Quessenberry is a backup, who thank God he's on this team because he went into the game this past weekend. Which, by the way, Tommy Doyle got hurt. Was it same ACL, different ACL? Does anybody know? I
don't know. I didn't even look that up to see, but,
so I'm gonna hand this off to you, then I'm gonna look it up. But also the addition of Aaron Cromer. Like all of us have mad respect for Aaron Cromer with reason. It's just not a love fest. The dude is good. But I put in here, it now appears to be a weakness. I don't know that weakness is the right word. I don't feel like they've gelled or found their stride. I mean, I'm sure you're referencing the run game graphic, right? That they're the worst by a lot. It's funny because they're so high when it comes to point scoring and like passing and stuff like that. And when it comes to run game, it's the same kind of like awkward, all alone by themselves down there. So they're awkward and all alone up here and awkward and all alone down there. It's strange.
My question about that is, and while you're looking this up, I guess it's a rhetorical question in a way, but my question about it is like, well, is it that we don't allow the line and the running backs to get into a rhythm for the run, or is it really that they're that bad? Because, I just feel like if you only have 15 carries for the game, like as a team, it's tough to really give Motor a rhythm when he only carries the ball 8 times or 10 times, like it's tough. And that's why one of the things that I said in one of my morning thoughts after the game is that, look, I love all those guys. And I think there should be a hierarchy as far as the running back goes. But I also think it needs to be a point where we have an RB1. And I think Devin Singletary has proven to us last year and going into the playoffs and in the playoffs. And even at the beginning of the season, he's proven to us that he's RB1.
Right.
So let's make him RB1. And when we make him RB1, okay, yeah, Zach can be our goal line running back, like we said, or our third down back. Or if you want to, pass in situations, fine. Let's bring James in. But at this point, Motor needs to be RB1. And what happens is when he doesn't get the ball enough, and then you throw him in these situations where they expect him to just turn it on and be a beast, he hasn't been, I'm trying to remember who it was that said it. Somebody was talking about how, in the third quarter, I hit this hole and I knew it was going to be there because in the first quarter, we ran this play and this is how the defense reacted. And if I didn't have that play, if I didn't have that experience, then I wouldn't have known in the third quarter and I wouldn't have gotten that first down. So again, you need those mental reps in game. Like every single thing that happens in the game is used throughout the game. So I just really think Devin needs to get that opportunity to really show that he can be a workhorse. And I'm not saying make him Derrick Henry of last year or the year before. What I'm saying is like, no, let him be the focal point of the run attack. We can't let Josh Allen throw for 400 yards and lead the team in rushing. Like that's just a lot.
It's a lot to ask. I saw a graphic out there that it was going through Josh Allen's years, and like early on he was 72% of the offense or 68% of the offense, and then it like rolled up to now where he's 82% of the offense. And it's like, yeah, it's not supposed to go this direction, especially when you're surrounding him with as many weapons as you have. So the rumor was floated today with Kay Adams, and we all love Kay Adams, and you actually got invited on her show, so we'll be excited to see that happen. But Boomer Esiason was on there base and floated out there that wouldn't it be great to see Saquon Barkley in a Bills uniform, that there's a potential for Saquon to end up in Buffalo. First, what does that trade look like hypothetically? And then so let's deal with let's separate it. What is the trade? Is it Devin and a pick? Because Devin's in his final year of his contract. So is it Devin and a pick? Is it just draft picks? Is it Zach Moss? Hang on a second. Well, I mean,
I'm listening. I'm just saying how, because I don't get it.
You talking about cap room?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, Saquon, I don't think has signed an extension yet. He's on his 5th year option, if I'm not mistaken. So what does that trade look like? And then if the trade were to happen, how do we feel, Bills Mafia, about Saquon Barkley being a Buffalo Bill?
You want to give a running back $7 million to come in here that typically, and I love Saquon.
Time out. Hang on. I before you finish that statement, it's literally, to me, Odell Beckham. It's a hockey trade. You're literally just, there's no,
it's not Odell Beckham.
In my opinion, you trade Saquon Barkley is better than everybody we have in this roster combined right now. So you bring him in for 6 months, you win a Super Bowl. Same thing with Odell. You bring him in December. You're not signing Odell Beckham to a 3-year deal. You're signing Odell Beckham for this season, and that's it.
It's not Odell. It's just not like the dynamic of our passing attack makes Odell a different type of threat. When you're talking about bringing a guy in like Saquon Barkley, then you're talking about he's a workhorse. He's not anything other than a workhorse.
But you bring
him in.
But he's dangerous. So you're talking about adding Odell to Stephon Diggs.
Okay,
he's going to go to the Hall of Fame. You're talking about adding Odell.
Hold on. You just talked about how bad our offensive line is, and then we know for the last 4 years.
Is it though?
Yes, it has been bad. Let's be honest. In a minute, they've been bad.
Apparently,
I love everybody. I just did a Dion.
I'm throwing the arguments out there. I'm trying to get everybody.
It's not a good one. It's not a good argument, bro. And I love you, but no.
I didn't bring it up. Boomer Esiason did.
Sorry, Boomer. That's a bad one, Boomer. Don't do that. Don't give Brandon Beane thoughts. Don't do it because look. It's so different, man. And when you put him behind that type of line, he's been injured consistently. Like that's one of the only consistent things he's done is be injured. And yeah, he's great when he's healthy. How long is that going to last if he's behind a line like this?
I don't know. Ask everybody that plays fantasy football and drafted Christian McCaffrey in the top 5, one of the top 5 picks, if not one of the top 3 picks. Right? I mean, there's a lot of people hedging their bets on a guy that has never been healthy.
I wouldn't, and I stayed away from Christian McCaffrey for the same reason. Like I want guys that's going to be there, and Devin appears to be healthy often.
Is he calling me a boomer? I'm not a boomer. My dad's a boomer.
Well, we're talking about Boomer Esiason, so it's like it's a play on words.
Oh, okay, Boomer. I was gonna say, I'm not that old. I mean, I'm old.
Joe was offended.
I'm old, but I'm not that
Joe
old.
was offended.
Come on. Awesome. I love you, JR. You know it.
Yes, Sarah, you're right. Saquon's making $7 million plus.
$7 million plus, and I'm not. I don't. To me, adding Odell to this wide receiver core doesn't have the same ripple effect that adding Saquon potentially adds to this running back group. What he brings to the table from an athletic standpoint, I know he's been injured. I just, if we clear that stuff, so just hypothetically think or believe for 1 second he's not going to be injured for the rest of the season. So going in, we know, foresight, we know he's not going to be injured this year. He's bringing a skill set that literally is Devin, Zach, and James Cook all in one. That's his skill set. All 3 of them in one running back.
I disagree.
He's got the speed of James Cook and the catching ability. He's got the forward burst of Zach Moss, the make business decisions, and he's got the ability to make people miss in a phone booth that Devin Singletary has.
Have we seen Devin Singletary be out a full season?
I agree with you. No,
I don't. I stay away from those guys. And I know the Bills have over the recent years been able to be very proud of the fact that we have one of the healthiest teams, and we always have like one of the best, just the best health team to help them get back.
Yeah,
I get it. I stay away from it. Like in this year, we don't look like we got it.
So you cut Micah Hyde at the end of this year?
Micah Hyde ain't always injured. He's injured this year. Well, how many years has he been injured on this team?
Saquon was out for 1 year with an ACL tear. That was it. 1 year.
He was out for 1 year.
1 year with an ACL, and then he had an ankle injury that put him out for a couple weeks, I think, last season.
Let's do this.
I'm gonna go
look it up.
There's guys.
No, I'm gonna look it up.
Daniel Frederick, our guy Dan, the man, with a super chat. Appreciate you, bro. We have skill position players galore, and Josh Allen, protect him. Trade for fat guys. I'm not disagreeing with that at all. One person said, "Go get more bodies." It's just a question of what bodies are out there. Like there's nobody out there that you're gonna have to, if you're gonna trade for a guy or trade for at this point a guard or trade for somebody, then yes, but for all intents and purposes, there's not exactly just a bevy of dudes out there that we are ready to bring onto the squad. Tommy Doyle going down is bad for this offensive line. There was an expectation and kind of a plan for Tommy Doyle. I sent a text message, I got a response about Tommy Doyle. So I asked the question, was it a different ACL or the same one? And the response I got back was, did he have one before? So Tommy Doyle went out last year with an ACL, did he not? Or did he not?
Tommy Doyle, I believe so. But let me just real quick before we get off of Barkley. So high ankle sprain, low ankle sprain, MCL strain, ACL tear, another high ankle sprain. Yeah, he had a pulled hamstring. Like this is just, and I'm just going back. There's still like 3 I can read off. A pull unspecified grade 1. That's I don't know what that means for his ankle. Then look up.
It'll tell you how many games he's missed. Potential start possibilities. How many games? I know that there's been a lot of games missed by and large because of the ACL. I think he lost 14 games because of the ACL. And then obviously there was, a bunch. His rookie season, he was wildly healthy. And then after that, he hasn't been. But Daryl Williams
his first year, he was crazy. His first year was crazy. I don't want to hate on him.
Yeah. Daryl Williams is obviously still out there in the comment section. That was by Mary C. Mary, welcome to the show. Appreciate you for listening and dropping in.
You want that on your team?
Yeah. So 2021, Sarah Larson says he played 13 games. 2020, he played 2 games. That was the ACL year. 2019, 13 games. So the 2020 doesn't count. That was the year you can't blame a guy for tearing an ACL. That's not his fault.
I'm not blaming him for it, but I think running backs injuries.
What I said was, hypothetically speaking, that he's going to be healthy for the rest of this season. He's not going to get injured. He's not going to miss a game. Your response was, how many games is Devin Singletary?
We don't know if he's going to be healthy though. That's what
I know. I'm making a hypothetical argument. I'm saying if he's not going to be injured, if he isn't going to be injured this season, would you make that trade?
Hypothetically, if the guy's head was on straight, I would want Antonio Brown on the Buffalo Bills. But
that's true too.
The hypothetical is just not going to happen. So so yes, hypothetically, I'd take Saquon Barkley. I think he's a phenomenal running back. I would also take, like I said, Christian McCaffrey earlier and several other players who are like that. But in a reality, like this world that we live in and what I know of his history and injury, I think running back injuries are different than other positions because they are being hit differently. And that's why you don't pay running backs. I don't know. I used to not believe this. I felt like certain running backs, you deserve to get paid.
Yeah. Interestingly enough, Chris Jenke just said about Daryl Williams that he has retired, and Matt Perino broke it that his IG profile states that he is retired and is training.
Yeah, he's doing training.
Mm-hmm. So apparently maybe he had offers to play NFL football this year and turned it down.
And the thing is, he didn't even announce it, really. I think Matt just kind of looked for it and found it, because he just literally changed everything that he had going on his Instagram and put it up to his just to his coaching thing. So yeah, I think he just kind of made a decision, which is good for him. He has some injuries and he's getting up there in age for that position. So
back to the point, the topic at hand. What is different, or what has changed, or why is this offensive line not the strength that we expected it to be? I'm going to let you go first. This was your topic.
I mean, to me, it's encouraging from a passing standpoint, because what we've seen is Josh has been relatively clean.
He hasn't had to vacate the pocket as much.
Right. Now, when he wants to, when there's a play to be made, he'll do it because that's who Josh is. And sometimes he likes to be hit. But relatively, when it comes to the passing attack, Josh has been clean.
Yeah.
The concerning part is what I mentioned earlier. Josh Allen can't throw for 400 yards and lead the team in rushing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I get it. He's going to have rushing because that's who he is, but he can't lead the league or lead the team in rushing and passing. Like, it's just too much to put on one guy. And when that happens, man, that's the concerning part about the offensive line. If you're not going to allow your running backs to take some of that pressure off of Josh, then, we've seen what happens when guys do too much, when they push too much. And I don't want Josh to be that guy that tries to do too much and then for any reason he has to miss any time. I don't want to say any reason specifically, but I mean, like, for any reason he has to miss time because he did too much. No, let's keep our quarterback protected. That guy he's worth it.
Yeah.
That's our $250,000 guy or $250 million guy. Let's keep him healthy.
I don't know what the answer is. People in the comment section are saying new offensive line coach. Nobody's going to mistake Aaron Cromer for Bobby Johnson. Aaron Cromer is better. Peyton Plays drops a comment, says pretty interesting article by Joe B, who we love at The Athletic. He compared the offensive line performance of the Miami game to what Josh Allen had in front of him in 2018 from a performance standpoint. I would agree with that. I don't even know. Did you say that?
No, this is so you remember the Kanye West and Sway. You ain't got the answers, man.
That's right.
How, Sway? So I read it in that voice, and I'm sorry. Go ahead.
It's fine. No, that is funny. So I mean, I felt very much so, and I'm on record as saying that it looked to me like that offensive line on Sunday looked, and the heat was a factor. It looked to me a lot, and I don't know, the game plan wasn't a factor, but it looked a lot to me like the offensive line game that we saw from the Bills-Steelers game, opening game last year. The only thing that's similar between those two games is Melvin Ingram. Melvin Ingram had a day last year against the Bills. And we all know it's true. No matter how much you want to talk about it, no matter how much you want to speak about it, or how much you want to doubt it, certain players, certain matchups get up and play well, and for whatever reason, dominate. And Dion had a difficult time with Melvin Ingram last year. Jerry Ostrowski, through his film study from Monday, said that Dion struggled with Melvin, and the whole offensive line struggled with Melvin this past Sunday. There's something to be said for what that offensive line did on Sunday. Now, whether it was the heat, whether it was the game plan, whether it was Melvin Ingram, I don't know. I would agree that they played great week 1. They played great week 2. Is week 3 an anomaly?
Well, no, week 3 had the heat.
And that's the run game. The problem is going to be the run game, right? And at some point in time, the common denominator for this offensive line and run games is the running backs.
Well, and that's why I wanted to throw up Chris Jenke's comment, because he said if you take any O-line and remove 3 starters, they won't perform well. And I agree. So this Sunday, we're gonna give you that for the Sunday, but week 1 and week 2, but that wasn't the thing. So we can't talk about injuries.
But that graphic at the Bills, distinctively way lower than everybody else for the season in run blocking, isn't
so
one
that's
game.
Not just game 3. That's not game 3. So what I'm saying is, and even with this game, even Sunday, Josh was still relatively protected this week. He wasn't. So even again, what we're saying, you take away 3 starters and you got your third center in there, and you got a right guard. I think Daryl was saying in the comments, you got your right guard playing right tackle or whatever we're doing, and you're doing all these different things. Yeah. Josh still looks good to throw the ball. So healthy or not healthy, we don't have that running game. We got to get that going.
Yeah, for sure. And it's going to be interesting. So the last topic we have before we get into game predictions, and this doesn't have to be necessarily a long one, Josh Allen and interestingly enough, Lamar Jackson, who both today in their presser said they have great respect for each other, which we know that about Josh already. I mean, the dude, tell me it didn't get you when you didn't see. I'm sure you saw it afterwards, but I saw it in the moment when Josh Allen Tua and Josh were embracing, and Josh literally like laid his head.
Yeah, we saw it
onto his shoulder. I was like, oh man.
Yeah, well, I hate it for the simple fact that Miami Dolphins fans are gonna they're gonna make that about the wrong thing.
Yeah.
But the thing I love about it is that I feel like sometimes we don't allow players to be like just people.
Yeah,
and I love the fact that they were able to be people with each other.
I remember I was on the Buffalo Bills message board. I don't remember what year it was, but I joined the Bills message board in 2003. And there was some point where it came out in an article or a news thing or something that Jim Kelly and Dan Marino were great friends. And I remember being like, this is not possible. These two people cannot be great friends. Like, you can't tell me that through all of those years and all of those games and like all the stuff that they went through, like together, fighting each other twice a season, that they were good friends. You can't.
Did you
they were good
on Netflix? Did you ever see the or ESPN at first, and now it's on Netflix? The doc about the Bulls and like what was it called? The Last Dance or whatever.
Yes.
Did you see the scene where Michael Jordan and Larry Bird met up after a game and he like whispered in his ear? To me, that's Jim Kelly and Dan Marino whispering to you. I'm not gonna say what they said. If you saw it, you know what the scene is. But that's to me how I picture them. So yeah, I'm with you. Like when I first heard it, I'm like, wait, great friends? What? Like you mean after they retired, right? And they're like, no, they've been friends. Shout out to Carl. Beam signed 2 players to the practice squad. are Justin Murray and Xavier Rhodes decent fill-ins for the Christian Benford and Tommy Doyle injuries? I think Xavier Rhodes is a exceptional fill-in. I wouldn't even say a decent. I think in a way, I would almost say we kind of upgraded. Not that Benford's he's not bad. He's playing very well. But when you have a veteran who has played at a high level with your defensive coordinator as well, you got to understand it's a scheme fit too. There's experience there. So I think Xavier Rhodes I think that's a really, really good signing. Justin Murray's been a starter. He started, I think, about 2/3 of the games that he's been available for. So you got starting experience. There's a reason why he was a free agent, which I can say the same about Xavier Rhodes, but I think injuries for Xavier Rhodes kind of played into it. But Justin Murray, he's not Dion. We're not bringing Dion in here. We're not bringing, so that's just what it comes down to. But I think also, like I said, it's when you have a guy that you can bring in here with some professional experience, some starter experience. I mean, we got Josh Hart, Yeah.
Last topic of the show. As we were talking about Josh Allen and moved to Dan Marino and Jim Kelly, Josh and Lamar are going to be playing this weekend as the only quarterbacks to have 80 passing touchdowns and 20 rushing touchdowns. Josh being the only player, is it 80 and 30?
Yeah.
It's the only player in NFL history to do that. This matchup. So as we're doing this, by the way, let's also, if everybody can start thinking of what your game predictions are going to be and your Josh Allen stat lines while we're kind of wrapping up on this point as far as what our expectations are between the two.
Start throwing them in the comments. Start throwing them in there.
Lamar Jackson is the only quarterback in the entire NFL that scares the hell out of me.
No Patrick Mahomes?
Patrick Mahomes does not scare me the way that Lamar does. And the reason that he scares me is because Vaughn talked about it. In a blink of an eye, he can be 80 yards downfield running away from you. And in a busted play, in a perfectly designed or perfectly called defense, he can just all of a sudden be gone. And we've seen it so much. It's just the talent level, the ability, but at the same time, there's a great deal of he can't throw outside the numbers. He's limited as a passer. He's got Mark Andrews, who is by far and away the best tight end, pass catching tight end in the NFL. He doesn't have any wide receivers, so like he's limited. J.K. Dobbins is they're going to be sprinkling him in, but man, Lamar Jackson just scares me.
I respect it. I love Lamar Jackson. I don't know if you got a chance or if anybody in the comments got a chance to catch a code of conduct last night, but I had some guys on from Baltimore who, obviously they love him, and I just paid my respect to him, man. Lamar Jackson, there's a lot of conversation that happens about him that I think is unfair. I think, and I'm not saying for any specific reason, but I think it's unfair. I think he's done nothing but prove to be an exceptional person, an exceptional athlete, an exceptional teammate, and a great person in that community. I think he's he's like second to none when it comes to just being a great guy. And his MVP year, he had professional players lining up for his autograph. Like that's who Lamar Jackson is.
Right.
So,
right.
So the negative criticism of him that comes when it's not warranted, I don't get it. But I'll tell you what, I agree with you. He scares the living daylights out of me because I think this is the first game our run defense will truly be tested. So I know we beefed it up. We definitely beefed it up. Last year, we just weren't good against teams that could really run well. This year, I don't think that, you look at, and I hate to say this because I don't want to sound negative or sound like I'm being like I don't believe in the team, but is Derrick Henry really Derrick Henry? Like,
I don't think
he had that injury. Is he back?
I don't think so.
So yeah, we shut him down. He gets one touchdown, but he only has like however many yards. So
it wasn't many.
Shut him down.
Was it 46? It wasn't
even that. Like, I don't even think it was. If it was, that's fine. But it's like, so we shut him down. Did we? Do the Rams running attack scare you? Does the Dolphins run it? No, you're with the Dolphins. You're worried about Waddle and Hill. You're not worried about.
Yes, go ahead. Sorry.
No, but I'm just saying, like, so the teams that we shut down so far, they don't have running attacks that make you say, yeah, we did that. We know Greg Roman, and we know what he does with run schemes. And when you have a guy like Lamar Jackson, it's just incredible. It's incredible what he can do, and it's incredible what he's done over the last 4 years, whatever. So yes, he scares the living daylights out of me, Joe. Yeah,
for sure. And I'm right there. When you look at these two matching up, this is another one of those. Regardless of what happens in this football game, win or lose, just enjoy it. As a Bills fan, take it in. Realize that as much as there's love being given to Tua, which is going to end today, if you're listening to this on Thursday.
You think so? I think they're going to beat Cincinnati.
They're not going to beat Cincinnati. They're not going to beat Cincinnati is going to beat them. And then Emmanuel Acho is going to come out on Friday morning and say that Joe Burrow is doing things that no other quarterback in the NFL is doing, and this is why the Bengals are the best team in football. There's two guys right now that are living on the every week. This is the best team in football.
Yep.
This is the best.
RG3 is killing me. RG3 is killing me. He's killing me. Can I just say that? I love you, RG3, but you're killing me, man.
I am all over Emmanuel Acho. I'm all over him. Like I did it for the Cowboys. I was like, let me guess. Like this guy, it was Parsons. Micah Parsons is rushing the passer better than anybody else in football, and this is why the Cowboys are the best team right now. Like he actually got him to chirp back at me on one of the occasions, but it's just like it's ridiculous. So, but just enjoy this football game because it's going to be, I don't think it's going to be the playoff contest that we saw. Yes, somebody asked about rain. There's potential for rain in the forecast. If it rains, who does it affect more? Does it affect Josh Allen and the Bills more? Or does it affect Lamar more?
Honestly, I think it affects Lamar more. Now I know he can run, so the defense will be that's a negative for our defense. But when it comes to passing, when it comes to that passing, Lamar can throw the ball. Can we get away from this idea that Lamar Jackson is not an NFL quarterback? We've seen him throw the ball, right? But I mean, there's some people
limited he's limited outside the numbers.
I don't think that he is. I don't think he is. Did you watch the game this past Sunday?
I did not see the game this past Sunday, but I can tell you that as much as I want to say, and I'll concede that I feel like he's limited outside the numbers. This is what I would say opposite that. He is dangerous over the middle. He has more cojones throwing the football over the middle than just about any quarterback in the NFL.
I will say if you get a chance before this weekend, go back and watch that game in full.
Okay.
And watch Lamar. And I mean this in all honesty, man. Like Lamar, dude, I'm gonna just tell you, it's impossible for us to really keep having these negative criticisms. And then he goes out there and throws 4 touchdowns. The way, like where he threw them, how he threw them, like dude, he was dropping in the bucket, man. And that Devin Duvernay, I did not coming into the season, I did not believe in Duvernay. I did not. The dude is balling, man. So go back and watch it. Matter of fact, let me know when you'll watch it. I'll watch it with you. Like we can text or we can whatever. No, seriously, because like I enjoy watching Lamar. I'm actually a huge fan. So like you said, enjoy this game, Bills fans, whether you're going or whether you're watching on TV. It's not every week. It's not, that you get to see like this level of quarterback play and this type of fun. Like enjoy this. Enjoy this as a fan.
Yeah, I'll definitely take a look. I did not see the Bill or the Ravens New England game. I want to. Dude, sidebar, and we're over time, but it's fine because I love talking to you. Good. Can somebody have a conversation with Mac Jones about his emotional expressions of his face, please?
What happened to his face? I didn't see it. What happened?
Let me see if we can find. No matter what happens to Mac Jones, so if the rush is coming, he's got that face, right? This weekend going into the locker room, I can see. Let me see if I can find it. He's going into the locker room, and the players are. I've got it. Oh my gosh, dude! Like this is effing ridiculous. So I'm gonna pull this up. It's just like, what is going on with this guy? Like, could somebody please get to Mac Jones and tell him, bro, you are an NFL player, and could you please make your face not hide, but just like, what the hell is going on in this picture?
Pain. That looks like
have you ever, dude, I've seen players go off with broken legs with less emotional crybaby moment than this guy has over a sprained ankle. Like, and this is everything that happens to him. Everything that happens to him, it's literally 6-year-old kid face going on inside of his helmet. Somebody needs to just be like stoic. Just be stoic.
Whatever wants to know if it's a more punchable face than Tannehill.
It is not. Tannehill still has the most punchable. And I disagree. There are a lot of people that are like, no. Kyler Murray has the most punchable face in football. And I'm like, nope, Tannehill. And it was you were there. It was wonderful not seeing Tannehill with that stupid smile on his face. Like,
I'm gonna be honest. I don't have the same disdain that you
completes the pass, and Tannehill's just got that smile on his face. It's like, bro, I'm gonna punch you.
I just don't. I don't see it. So I don't pay attention to that. So I don't see his like. I guess I don't like Tannehill. So I don't pay attention to him at all. So like.
But dude, imagine being in the backyard and like spraining your ankle. What the hell is going on in this picture? Well, you have played sports. I have played sports. I've been injured. You've been injured. Yeah. You have never made that face.
No, I tore my ACL and didn't make that face.
And his leg is not. If his humerus was broken, I would understand this face. Like, what is going on?
You know, he just he's a very expressive guy. That's all. Listen. Sign my man Cam. Do it, Bill. Do it, Bill. Do it, buddy B. Sign my man Cam back.
Oh my gosh. Anyways, sorry. So we need to wrap this thing up. Game prediction.
Let's get these predictions going. We got one in here. Daryl says, Josh, 360 yards passing, 3 TDs, 1 rushing, 35-24 Bills. Last night on my show, I think I said I was going to go Bills 31, Ravens 28. I think I'm gonna change that a little bit, and not huge, but like I'm still gonna go like Bills like 35-ish, but I'm gonna go like 24. I think it's gonna be a little bit more of a gap. I think what it's gonna come down to for me is like I said, what the difference is. Like Josh Allen is exceptional in a different way at throwing the football, and their secondary is really beat up. And I know Ravens fans are excited about the fact that Jordan might not play, and that Micah's, you know, like when you have those injuries and those people missing, they're like, oh, they're handicapped back there. But I just want to warn people, like they are very confident in Johnson, and they are I think Poyer, I don't have intel, but I think he's going to play. And if Jordan Poyer plays and you got Johnson back there with him, and then honest to God, I'm just telling you, I don't get too excited about blowing our secondary up, because we held Tyreek Hill to 30 yards.
Yeah.
So let's not get too excited. And on the flip, I don't think they got nothing for Stephon Diggs, and he's pissed off because he didn't get to do what he wanted to do this last game. So yeah, I'm going with the Bills.
So Dan basically says 31-27 Ravens, and I respect that. I'm going to say this: if the Buffalo Bills drop this football game, I don't think it deters or changes the outcome of the season. Does that make sense? Like, I feel like the Bills could potentially lose a game to the Ravens. And as much as the national narrative would change vastly about the Buffalo Bills, I think there's an opportunity for the Ravens to pull it. What happened? McCorkle soft, very soft. Is that what you're laughing about?
Facts, bro. Yeah. I'm listening. Like Brian and Daniel going back and forth. Just like, I love the jokes in the comments today. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, it's fun. It's fun. I think there's an opportunity for the Ravens to pull one out here, especially if it rains. If it rains, it could be a little more challenging. Anytime you're playing against Lamar Jackson, he could turn into Lamar Jackson and Lamar Jackson you, right, in a football game. So I think the Bills can win this game. I think the Bills do a very good job of scheming against guys like this and shutting down the player. And now more than ever, the Ravens are about the player being Lamar Jackson. I don't think J.K. Dobbins is going to be an issue. Clearly Taron Johnson and Matt Milano can cover and handle Mark Andrews. I don't think we're going to see him throw for 400 yards against this team. Injuries, right? It's going to come down to who's playing in this football game. And that's what it's going to, I'm less worried about the defensive backfield. I think we all are, right? If we handled Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle and Mike Gesicki, I don't care who is playing for the Ravens at this point. I think the defensive backfield can handle it. Getting to Lamar is going to be different. There's not going to be a measure of sacking him 4 or 5 times like we did Matthew Stafford. It's going to be keeping him in the pocket and making him stay home. And then obviously a guy like Shaq Lawson comes in play, setting that edge and making sure that, that Lamar isn't getting outside of where he needs to be, outside of contained. So I'm going to take the Buffalo Bills in this game. I don't think it's going to be a highly contested or a highly scored game. I'm going to go like 23-17, I think. So I think the Bills beat the spread and the Bills win. Josh Allen stat line, I'm going to take maybe a lower day, 280 yards, 2 touchdowns.
See, I don't think rain bothers him.
It doesn't. Even though that was an early narrative. That was an early narrative, if you remember. And you and I You and I were big
like, you're
about
crazy.
it rained in this game. It rained in that. His first 420-yard game, it rained.
So rain doesn't bother him.
No.
So I agree with you. Like, I think it's going to be. It's not going to be one of those games where it's like, it's not week 1 when we went and did that to the Rams, and it's not week 2 what we did to the Titans.
Right.
The Ravens are a very, very good, respectful football team, and they're going to be there when the playoffs come around. So this is no disrespect. I think the Bills are ticked off from last week, man. And and what I know about my quarterback, when he's pissed off or ticked off like that, it's a rough day for whoever's next. It's a rough day.
Ladies and gentlemen, you've been tuned into the Hump Day Hotline on the Buffalo Rumblings Vidcast Network, brought to you by Picasso's Pizza. So if you're interested in Picasso's Pizza, they do ship. But do you want to take us home there, boss?
Real quick, we got a super chat from Carl. He said, please let Mitch Morse play the whole game.
Yes.
I think they want Mitch Morse to play the whole game. It just comes down to if he can stick around and be healthy. And he injured his arm in week 2, and that kind of is what kept him out. But yes, please let him play the whole game, because we need those snaps to be on point. We don't need fumble or botched fumbles at the end. Please. So yes, I agree.
Yeah,
I agree. And hey, we're going to get on out of here. Listen, on Twitter this week, on Instagram this week, on Facebook this week, it's been a lot of fighting amongst the fan base. There's been a lot of fighting. Some people don't like what Ken Dorsey did. Some people don't like how the team lost. Some people feel like crap because it's Miami. I get it. It's been a rough week. Trust me, it's been a rough week for me too. But I want y'all to do something for me. Do me the favor and love each other, take care of each other, and live in peace. And as always, stay positive, test negative. Go Bills.
Go Bills.